Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Come to you tonight with a best of 2024 video. This is going to be my top 11 books from the year 2024. It's going to be the top 11 fiction books. I will come back with another video very soon with the top nonfiction books that I read in 2024. And yes, I do realize it is long overdue, and I apologize for that. I'd had some people in the comments section asking me about this, are you going to do the best of 2024? Question mark, question mark. And of course I answered yes, or I think I did anyway. I meant to if I didn't. So I've literally had this stack of books sitting here on my desk for a month now. Or on my table, and I just haven't recorded. So anyway, without further ado, here is my top, and this is going to be the top 11 books from 2024. So the first one I have on the stack it's an older book. It's a new printing of it. It's a 1972 story that apparently everybody's read but me, up until this last year anyway. It's The Best Christmas Pageant Ever, and this book was absolutely hilarious. This book, of course, it's a Christmas story. It was very heartfelt in the end, and it shows some of the true spirit of Christmas, caring about others and looking out for those who maybe don't don't have as much as you, and with trying to care for the little guy, and showing sympathy or empathy, whichever word it is, for people with lesser circumstances. And I thought it was a really good book. Apparently everybody's read it but me. I had our local librarian bring it to my attention, and I read it and loved it, and then I asked for it for Christmas, and I got it for Christmas. My wife realized how much I liked it. So yeah, that's probably going to be on my list every year at the beginning of December. So there is one of the books. All right, so the next one. And I can't remember if I said these are in no certain order. I picked them off a list. I went through my yearly reads, and I said, yep, I liked that one, I like that one, I like that one. And I probably should also say that in here, I have got authors that I read multiple books from, and I tried to just choose one book from the author, just so I didn't have the same author over and over again. So I tried to just choose one. So anyway, there might have been multiple books by an author that I really liked. So the next one is Larry McMurtry's Comanche Moon, which this is the prequel to Lonesome Dove. Absolutely love this book. This was really good. It was a little bit thicker book, just like Lonesome Dove is, but it was really good. We take our main characters, Augustus McCrae and Woodrow Call, and we look at the early years of their work as Texas Rangers, and they chase, what's the guy's name? Is it Duck? Blue Duck? Yeah, Blue Duck. They begin the chase with Blue Duck, and there's some other adventures. We get into Augustus McCrae's love life and how complicated that is. And when he met his, sorry, I'm having to look at the name here, Clara, when he meets Clara and falls, he's been head over heels, and she ends up marrying somebody else and moving on, and he's heartbroken. And, we get all of that backstory that plays out in Lonesome Dove. And so I thoroughly enjoyed this. Highly recommend that book if you've never picked it up. So there's two off the list. All right, so the next one is the ever-famous John Steinbeck book, The Grapes of Wrath. Now, I've read a few of his other novels, but they're smaller. This is my first bigger novel of his, and I really liked the story. I thought it was good. It seemed like a lot of people had read this one too, and I hadn't. And I've been trying to knock classics off my list, and you're going to see a few more classics in this list. I did pretty good in the year 2024 with going through classics. But anyway, Grapes of Wrath takes place during the Great Depression, and we get some people from Oklahoma who are losing the farm, and they're having to travel west to California to try a new start. And there's, you got a couple different storylines going on within the family that we're looking at, and things that are going on in their lives. And thoroughly enjoyed that. I really like John Steinbeck, so that really helped. I like his writing. So yeah, highly recommend that one also, BookTube, if you've never picked it up. If there's anybody else out there who hasn't. My youngest daughter got the book 1984 by George Orwell. Got this for me, was it last Christmas, I believe? Maybe it was 2 Christmases ago, but I think it was last Christmas. I had offhandedly said when we were, where were we? Walmart or Target, one or the other. We were in the book section, and they had these mass markets, the big tall ones. I don't like the taller ones. But had this mass market sitting there, and I was like, oh man, I tried to read that one time, and what happened? I got sidetracked somehow. It wasn't that I liked the book, I just didn't finish it. And I was like, man, I want to get that book. I want that in my collection. I really liked the story up to the point that I got to, and I would love to finish it. And so my youngest daughter, my 6-year-old at that time, remembered that. And then when Christmas time rolled around, she made sure Mom got that for me. And so I thought that was pretty sweet. But 1984, it's all about Big Brother, right? Big Brother looking over your shoulder, watching your every single move. Kind of scary, but really good book. Highly recommend that one as well. I probably should quit saying highly recommend, because I would highly recommend all these books. That's why they're in the pile. So this next one is by Sue Corbett, and it's called Free Baseball. And this is about a young man who comes to the United States with his mom. His dad's a professional baseball player in Cuba, and he's got some pretty decent skills himself, and he finds himself the manager of a minor league team, and there's a whole thing. He runs away. He kind of runs away from home, not really meaning to, but he ends up running away from home and spends several days with this baseball team, and he's got to convince his mom to let him finish out, and just a really good, feel-good baseball story. It is meant for, it's a, let's see, what age group would this be? This would be, I don't know, 12, 13-year-old maybe. I liked it. I thought it was a good story. I think there's, stories out there that are written for younger kids that are still, even though it's for younger kids, they're really good. This was one of them. And next one on the list is a Agatha Christie. So I read a bunch of Agatha Christie. This is the one that I chose, and it's probably not one that you guys would guess that I would choose, because nobody else ever chooses these stories, but I happen to like them. I think they're really good, and I really enjoy the Tommy and Tuppence mysteries. This one is Partners in Crime, and it's all about Tommy and Tuppence and their business they put together with solving crimes. And this one, let me think here. This one, now happily married to each other. Yeah, they were freshly married, and they have started. Yeah, they had started their little deal, their detective agency, and they're picking up cases. And so thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved it. I've liked all the Tommy and Tuppence. I think they're just fun. They are definitely what we would call a what's the word I want? They're not hardcore mysteries. They are easy to read mysteries. So I like those. Anyway, one of the last books I read towards the end of 2024 was Jacob's Bell, A Christmas Story. And this is definitely, it's by John Snyder. It's definitely got a Hallmark feel to it. It's a good, feel-good, turn around your life type of story where Jacob has had problems with alcohol throughout his life, and he's getting towards the end of his life. And I say towards the end of his life because he's the alcohol has kind of ruined him, and he's wanting to try to make amends. He's wanting to turn his life around, and he's doing everything he can, but his kids want nothing to do with him simply because of his past and all the bad stuff that he had done. And he happens to meet this little girl as he is ringing the bell for the Salvation Army, and this little girl really makes a huge difference in his life. The Salvation Army and this work with the bell made a huge difference. He actually puts all of his energies into this, and people appreciate it, and they start dropping money in the bucket, feeling the Christmas spirit, and he collects way more than everybody else combined. And like I said, he runs into this little girl, and she helps along in the story. And so I'm not going to spoil it, because if I tell you any more, it would be a spoiler. So really liked that. If you followed the channel for a couple of years now, I kind of fell in love with the writing of Jason Reynolds, who writes books for young adults, our middle grade kids, and they definitely touch on subjects that most books never touch on. They're rough subjects that truly affect kids, though. And I've read a few Jason Reynolds books now. This is one of a couple of them I read this year, and this is Long Way Down. And this story is kind of all set on the premise of like living in the inner city with gangs and stuff, and how, you shoot my guy, I'm going to shoot your guy, and there's just this back and forth that never ends with the murders. And this kid's going to avenge a murder, and you get the elevator. He's leaving his apartment, and he's going down the elevator, long way down, and every floor he meets a ghost of the past that has been involved in this back and forth shooting. And so it comes down towards the end, do I go out and continue this downward spiral, or do I, stop it dead? And I thought it was a really interesting way to do the order of your book. I thought it was kind of clever. And he talks about the three rules in the neighborhood: no crying, no snitching, revenge. And so that's what the whole book's all about, and it was really good. I really like Jason Reynolds. I think he's got some pretty quality stuff for the most part. I've liked everything I've read. I think there was one book I was kind of like, but all the other ones I've liked. The next one, so we just got 3 left here. So the next one is another baseball story, and it's one of my all-time favorite movies, and it's a Kevin Costner movie, and it's For Love of the Game. The book, though, is by Michael Shihara, and I really enjoyed this. I loved it as much as I loved the book, and it's all about Billy Chappell, the Detroit Tigers pitcher, who I say Detroit Tigers. Do they have him for the Tigers in here? Goodness gracious, I can't remember. They may have made up a team for the story. I don't remember if in the book he was for the Tigers, or was it a made up story? Anyway, in the movie it was the Detroit Tigers, but the book and the movie go hand in hand. They were very, very very closely done. There's not a whole lot of difference between the two. So if you like the movie, you'll love the book too. But Billy Chappell is at the end of a really long baseball career. He was an awesome baseball pitcher, and he's in his final game. And what's the ultimate way any player would ever want to go out for his career? Well, you throw a perfect game, and that's what the whole thing is about, throwing this perfect game, except for, I say the whole thing's about that. That's kind of the background. The actual story itself is this love affair, this love story he has had with his girlfriend, and do they continue their relationship or not? Absolutely loved it. Really thin book, so it's a quick read for you. But if you're a baseball fan, this is a must read. Definitely a must read. All right, so we just got 2 left on the list here. This I did this was towards the very beginning of the year, and it's a thick book, but all of you you will recognize it, a little Sherlock Holmes. So this is the original illustrated Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. It's got, with all 356 original illustrations by Sidney Paget. So just kind of give you an idea, and it's laid out just like in the magazine. Thoroughly enjoyed this. Before you even ask, I don't know if I have a favorite yet. I probably need to just go reread it again and maybe get in my head, kind of categorize what I like better, which ones I like more than the other. So I don't know if I have a favorite yet, but I enjoyed all of them. Thought it was a pretty good read, and recommend everybody who is a detective type person, or you like reading detectives anyway, go check it out if you have not already. But again, this is one of those books, I think I'm the last person on the planet to read it. I think everybody else already has. So highly recommend that one. Read that, like I said, at the beginning of the year. And then the last book. So trying to keep this top reads of fiction reads of 2024 to a shorter video, keep it under 20 anyway. The last one I wanted to throw on here is a James Michener book, and this goes along with my project. I've been trying to read the complete works of James Michener, but I'm not like doing bunches and bunches back to back. I'm doing about one a year. Sometimes I get two, but it's been about one a year. But if you are familiar with James Michener, they are chunky monkeys. They're 800 to 1,000 pages, every single one of them, or almost all of them anyway. And but they are all so very good, and they all have their own way of being good. And this last one that I read this year was Alaska, and this takes us from the beginnings of time and the formation of Alaska all the way through to what would this one be, the 1970s, I think. I think that's when he wrote it. He wrote it up to the present time when the book was published. Oh gosh, a little later than that. Excuse me, into the 1980s. It was published in 1988. But really good. It's got sections about the gold rush. It's got sections about hunting the seals. It's got stuff on life with the Native Americans, and then let's see, what else did it talk? Talked about the oil industry. Talked about it's got a little bit of everything, and the fishing industry. It's got sections in there, and the story all ties together with the family members and everything. And just highly recommend James Michener. Here's our writer, if you're not familiar with him. He was just phenomenal with historical fiction. BookTube, if you're not familiar. But I think most of you have read a little bit of Michener and you understand what I'm talking about. But if you want a really long, epic, engrossing novel, get into Michener stuff, because you won't be able to put it down. So, BookTube, I know it's late. I know I took forever getting it out, but there is my top 11 books, fiction books of 2024. Let me know what you think about those down in the comments section below, and I'd love to hear what your favorite fiction book of 2024 was. Let me know down in the comments section. So, until next time, BookTube. Happy reading.